Let's move on to table topics. Now, table topics, I want you to enjoy this. Our table topics master today is Aprille. Isham, if I'm mutilating your name, please help me pronounce your name, Aprille.
Happy to, Harold, and thank you for doing such a spectacular job as Toastmaster. Last name is pronounced Isham. There you go. Yep, thank you. Today for our table topics, you're going to go, oh, really? Because I have news for you. Trick-and-treaters, time is not over. Halloween was last week, but it's still in today here at Table Topics. You're going to have a treat because you're going to have an opportunity to let her all out and reveal the true you. Lots of talk and nonverbal concerns in our world these days are about stuff. Our MoE table topic consideration for today. A woman named Marie Kondo coaches you to fold your undies correctly. The Home Edit magazine and Netflix has tons of ways for you to tame your stuff. If you can afford it, do you really need a $43 basket? For table topics today, you get to reveal your stuff and what you're going to do about it. You're going to tell us what's in your road. Is it stopping you, distressing you, thrilling you? What are you doing about your stuff? I'm going to call on you. You've got 2.5 minutes max to let us know what your stuff is and what you're going to do about it. So first of all, I'm going to ask John White to come clean and tell us what you got. John?
I can't believe you're suggesting that I do that. As you know, I'm in the middle of therapy, Bible study, and open mic, so I haven't processed or put this in a presentable way. I'll just do Muriel's style. I put it out to you. I identify one of my stuff. I know it's clear to many of you. Someone just jump in. John, how are you working on whatever? Someone say me. Ask me. Go ahead. This is
John,
too much to
how
cover.
are you working on?
What's that?
Did you ask us to ask you?
Yes, please.
How are you working on relationships?
On relationships, romantic or otherwise?
Take your choice.
Well, how about loving relationships? For so often, I thought of it just in terms of romantic. As you know, I'm twice divorced. My last divorce, my final divorce was 6 years ago. And I so identify with the fact that I was missing a romantic love that I didn't realize that I had loving relationships. Like when I did stand-up comedy, a lot of people came out and support me. I have great Toastmaster friends. I have pool friends. So while to me, there's still nothing quite the same as replacing a romantic woman in my life, I am expanding my view of love to say that I am being loved in many ways. And in that way, Muriel, perhaps am I not better suited to attract that goddess? Rather than think of deprivation and lack and poverty, maybe I say I am loving John and she will come, and it's my job to be observant. Thank you for that question, Table Topics Masters and Muriel Shabazz.
Well done, sir. Now, the next person is going to be able to say what their stuff is. And let me tell you this, if you don't have someone in the group you want to give you a coaching tip, I have a list of topics that I'll be happy to avail you. Lavenia, what you got?
What is my stuff? Well, I have stuff on my half of the dining room table. I've got a sewing machine that's been there 2 or 3 months. I dusted off the moving parts, but I still have to oil it. I have a bag of clothing that needs some type of repair. Am I ever going to sew? Or should I just put the case back on the sewing machine, latch it, and put it back in my sister's room where I got it? I can't decide, so therefore my stuff stays on my dining room table, and it kind of, I bump into it when I'm trying to eat. You know, it's there. I'm constantly reminded of it. Another item that I have on my dining room table is a computer, which I plan on removing all the extra documents and giving it to my neighbor's kid. It's been sitting there, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. So my stuff is things that I have on my dining room table, which are personal projects I want to work on, but I haven't. I still have to decide, kill that dream or get into it and fix what I need to fix. Back to you, Aprille.
Excellent. Well done. I appreciate your revealing so intimately a thing that can be taking over your life if you let it. Now we're going to hear from David Ryan. David, what have you got? Do you want a hint or you got your own topic? And we need you, David, to unmute, please.
Madam Topics Master, I'm debating whether to say my stuff is being the topics evaluator and delivering a topic at the same time and keeping notes on myself. Maybe I'll just evaluate myself and make the whole job a little bit easier. My stuff at the moment is my to-do list. I'm in the process of reading, I think it's David Allen's Getting Things Done for the second time. The first time I read it, I went through it, I applied some of the lessons, and quickly discarded it. This time, it's really hitting me. The systems, putting in place, getting your to-do list in order, cycling through it. So my stuff, I recently bought these little paper clips as a first step to collecting my medical receipts together. So these little things. My stuff is getting my to-do list in order. You, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, David. I think you can feel like you are not alone. Okay. Sharon Giles, what you got for us, Sharon?
Oh, you've hit me at the right time. This is now November. You know, as a crafter, as a photo designer, I have several projects going on. I promised myself this year I would not bring them into my living room. I do have a workroom back there, and I've tried to keep them in there. However, I got hooked on a Netflix movie the other day, and I brought my stuff into the living room. What these are words, positive words, humorous words that I put on greeting cards that I put together, on magnets. They're encouraging words, words that show gratitude, words that show that we are grateful for this life. So I've got other stuff, but I must admit that I've gotten rid of the stuff. I came across something I wrote in 2000 regarding a vision that was serious stuff, and I'm presently working on clearing that stuff out. Madam Table Topic Master.
Sharon, thank you so very much. We're grateful for you talking about your success in dealing with stuff. All right, Scott Oliver, what you got for us?
Fellow Toastmasters. Boy, I'll tell you, I'm still caught on Muriel's speech because I sat back and listened to that and realized there's a whole bunch of sticky wickets in my past that keep jumping up and grabbing me by the ankle and knocking me down. What a great message to have this morning. If I had stuff that I would want to address today, it would be those emotional issues, not so much the stuff. I'm kind of when I see a mess, I still have my own little cluttered piles of stuff on the nightstand and that sort of thing. However, it's with gratitude that I look at Muriel's speech today because it grabbed me by the collar and said, you got some stuff you got to deal with. You've got some relationships that you've just let sit aside. You're doing work every single day that you don't necessarily have to do anymore, and yet you do it out of habit and don't let it go, and it keeps you from doing the things you want to do. So today, when I look at my messes, it's going to be in a virtual box, not unlike this virtual meeting. I'll take a step back and look at what is tripping me up. Thanks, Muriel. And thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Excellent, Scott. Excellent. Thank you very much. And Sandra Savage, what you got?
I, being a firstborn Virgo from Minnesota, Norwegian at that, have a hard time when things don't match. So I put all my socks and Tupperware lids and anything else that doesn't match. And the other thing I'm trying to do, though, is I'm trying to get rid of things that I put in bags. Like people I can't categorize. I can't find a match for them. And so I just conveniently put them in this pile or that pile. So this next year, I'm going to get rid of stuffing people into categories or into Ziploc bags. I'm going to be more open about my relationships with people, not prejudging them because it's a blue sock or a tan sock or a square lid or a round lid. We all fit in somewhere. And my goal is to not make that decision on my own, but rather to listen to the person and have them tell me who they are. And so that I can continue to have an open mind and more open Ziploc bags. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Good job. No more of the bag lady, huh? Hey, go. Now we're going to hear from Daniel Bearer. Daniel. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, I am unmuted. So you brought up the subject of stuff that's in our lives. And I look at my camera and the bookcase behind me in my office, which holds all of the notes that I took when I was in law school almost 40 years ago. And I sometimes wonder, do I really need every note that I took in law school? How often do I refer to it? I think about, if you've ever seen the movie version of The Paper Chase, where student Hart breaks into the stacks, the Harvard Law Library, and he finds his nemesis, Professor Kingsfield's notes, which have been enshrined and bound so that everybody can see his notes from law school as a piece of literature. And I'm wondering, is that why I've saved all my notes from law school? And in fact, in my garage, all my notes from college, which I'll never look at. It's that old feeling of, I don't need it right now, but I might need it in the future. And if I get rid of it, I'll never have it again. I think that can apply to a lot of things in our lives. The tangible thing right now is I've got my notes in case I need them. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much for the reveal. Well done. Suzanne, how about yourself? What have you got for us on stuff?
Well, I do have a lot of stuff. Clothing, shoes. But I've got a method not to get rid of that stuff. I rotate. And if I haven't worn it inside of 2-3 months, it's gone. So that's my excuse to buy new clothes. But the stuff that I really have to look at are all the books that I bought and that are still on the shelf. Some of them are still in a bag because I was so enthused with the title or the subject matter. That stuff I hold on because it's a way for me to explore new avenues. Some books I will reread because they are thought-provoking. They bring my mind to a new space and they let me learn and they remind me to keep on learning. I have to keep my books. That's my stuff.
Very fine. Thank you so much. And we're getting close to our time. I'm trying to be mindful. It's 9:49. I'm going to ask Barbara Allen of South Carolina, what have you got for stuff? And please unmute.
Good evening. Thank you for that question. With my situation is similar to a lot of you all. I tend to hold on to notes. I have a million of them around me and never really get a chance to go back to them. So that's just a habit I have of just storing up things that I may not ever use again. And it's ironic because I tell everyone that my passion is organization, but I seem never to be organized. I mean, from the bathroom to the kitchen to the garage, there's just stuff. I used to be able to put my finger on anything that you asked me for, but today that is not the case. But my stuff is being disorganized when I consider myself and my calling to be an organizer. So thank you for the question, Madam Toastmaster.
Excellent. Thank you.
Topic.
One and all of you who have talked about your stuff today. I do have 10 items that you kind of went around, but some of you got very close. I am going to say this, that I feel like procrastination, friends, from Lavenia's sewing machine to Suzanne's books to Barbara's passion for being organized, but yeah, evasive as it is. So let us be grateful because we procrastinate. We can see what we're holding off on in our stuff and see what stuff matters to us, whether or not it's 40 years old. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to our Toastmaster. Harold, thank you.
All right, now we get to hear from our table topics evaluator, David. Oh, excuse me. Yes, David is evaluating our performance as table topics presenters.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. For my evaluation of the table topics, I'm just going to zoom in on 3 elements. The first was our masterful topics master herself and her delivery. Aprille, I loved how you introduced the table topics session. You set the scene, you gave some context with Halloween, you told us we're in for a treat. It was a great introduction. It got me involved in the table topic session. I was like keen to hear what's next, although also a little bit keen to have been rid of Halloween. My one suggestion is in relation to the topics themselves. I would have loved to see a little bit more diversity, maybe switching it up in between halfway through as we kind of started to hear the similar answers or different, or people had time to prepare their thoughts around the topic, and it became a little bit less like a table topic session. But you did manage the time extremely well. I loved how you closed it out at 49 and you had your eye on the clock, and that's important as we need to give time for the evaluation portion of the meeting. One theme that came up a couple of times was the use of props, and I particularly loved Sandra's use of the Ziploc bag to explain the metaphor, putting people in bags, and you opened it out and showed it. That really drew us in, I think, Sandra, really captured me. So as something I'm going to think of, what props could I have on my table for the next time I'm coming to a table topic session that I might be able to grab and work into the speech real quick. The last point I'd like to make is around Suzanne's response. It really brought home to me the importance of not stumbling over our words or anything, because it was flawless delivery. Your pace, Suzanne, was measured throughout, and because it wasn't rushed, it meant you had the time to prepare and think without it seeming like there was an unnatural pause halfway through the topic response. So I'm going to take away a concerted effort, I suppose, for myself, that I'm going to try to pace myself in a more measured way for my future table topic. So thank you very much for that, Suzanne. Madam Topics Master, Mr. General Evaluator, thank you.